Hey everybody, Terry the Real Estate Guy. Excuse my appearance this morning. I just thought I would put this video out here really quick for you. This is how we evaluate the value of our properties. And I wanted to kind of walk you through and show you as a potential real estate investor or a beginner real estate investor or someone who's been doing it a long time, like how a veteran actually comps a property. And a comp is a real estate term or an appraisal term that basically says compares the property to other property in order to find value. And so this is how we value our properties. I hope you appreciate this kind of walkthrough. I'm going to share my screen with you and show you exactly what we do. Okay. All right. So let's jump in. If you don't have MLS access, I will do another video that shows you how to do this with Redfin and Zillow. There's lots of other tools out there, but I'm going to use the Realtor MLS because, well, I have a real estate license and I have access to the MLS. And so the way I'm going to do this, I'm just going to pick a house, any house. I'm just going to go over here into an area, that I'm familiar with a little bit. And we're just going to pick one of these houses. So let's say we want to pick something on Elaine Avenue. Let's zoom in here and let's just grab an address. There we go. 220 Elaine Avenue. All right. Now I'm just going to start a brand new search and I'm going to do my map. And this is how we do it. So I'm going to type in 220 Elaine Avenue. That's Greenville, South Carolina. And it's going to show me where that is on the map. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in. Now, when I zoom in, the thing I want to look at is I want to stay in a very tight geographic radius when we are looking at values of properties, because the further out you go, the more things can get a little dicey in terms of your value. So if you want a dependable value, you want to try to stay in the same neighborhood. Now, some of you in some parts of the country, you actually have what are called subdivisions, right? Maybe there's a swimming pool, some tennis courts or whatever. And your best bet in those subdivisions is actually to stay inside that subdivision to try to find your value. But in a lot of cases, and especially older homes, older than, let's say 1980, 85, you are going to you're still gonna have little neighborhoods, but they're not really called subdivisions so much, at least not in the markets that I'm familiar with. So let's go back to our map and I'm going to show you how we do this. So I'm actually going to look for major roads. Now you can see this yellow one, this Wade Hampton Boulevard, right? That's a major road, but I'm going to try to keep it a little tighter than that. I'm going to draw a polygon. So all of the little systems, it's whether it's Redfin or Zillow or the MLS, you have these little polygons that you can use. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to kind of trace out a polygon based on these. These are not major roads, but they are busier roads than my residential street. And I want to see what happens. Now, again, I don't want to go way down here. Maybe I'm going to cut across here. I'm going to actually get these few streets in here and I'm going to go up and I want to stay in this zone. All right. Now it looks like there's tons of properties, right? The way this MLS works out is this is like 10 or 15 years worth of data. So I'm going to go back and now I've got this little polygon built. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to ratchet down my criteria. First thing, I really only want to see houses that are sold. So sold, pending, and houses that are under contract. That's really all that matters, right? If you can look at actives just to kind of get an idea of what's on the market, but I really want to look at what is actually sold. And then so that's 588 homes, as you can see there. Now I want to go back 6 months. And I have 6 months worth of data now. That house on Elaine Avenue was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So let's go back to our criteria. And we're going to take it minimum bedroom 2, maximum bedroom 3, and then minimum 1 and a minimum 2 bathroom. Okay. So we're either going to see all 2 1s up to 3 2s. Now there's a reason for that. The first thing I want to understand is it possible that a 2-1 could sell for more than a 3-2? It actually is possible, believe it or not. And so I don't want to miss out on a valuation on a 2-1 that may be super high and figure out why that was high. So I'm going to pull a 1-bedroom down, 1 bathroom down, and I'm going to look at it that way. Okay, so let's go back over here. Now we're down to 21 houses. And what I want to look at now is I'm going to sort by sales price. Okay. And I'm going to go over to my map. And now it's going to populate my map. Now, what's really interesting when you draw these polygons is you can see, like down here, these houses are selling in the, mid to high 200s. So my question always is why? You should always ask why when you're comping property. Why are these selling in the 200s? But these really don't matter to me that much because it looks like I have plenty of comparable sales up here. So let's see what we have going on up here. Well, there's definitely a sale. There's some sales in the 200s, but they're back here on this Windermere. But everything kind of that's northeast, is my direction right? Yeah, northeast of Elizabeth looks like it's under 200. So what could cause that? Here's one. Now, here's one on Elizabeth for 273. So we can look at that one. But it is the anomaly. This one for 273 is the anomaly. Here's one at 270. It's also a little bit of an anomaly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of part of the polygon because I have enough comps right through here. I have enough data. I don't need this down here. This is not going to help me. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to draw a new polygon. And I am basically going to take it from here over. I draw out the same thing. Got it. So there's my new one. And I'm going to get rid of my old one. Now, the reason I'm getting rid of my old one is, again, like I said, I don't need this down here. So let me go back to my criteria. And again, it depends. That's my first shape. So shape 1 is now gone. And shape 2 is in there. And now we're down to 17 properties. Okay, now we need to understand the bedroom bathroom layout. So let me sort by the number of bedrooms. So you can see that houses in this area. Here's a house on Pine Brook. You have to blow this up into full screen on your monitor so you can see it. But here's a 2-1, 1,200 to 1,400 square feet. And it sold for 185,000, actually went over asking price. And here's the sales price per square foot. You always want to pay attention to the sales price per square foot. Here's another 2-1 that sold for $97 a square foot in 4 days. Why the difference? Let's figure that out for a second. Okay, so let's look at this one. This sold for 185. Now I know that ours is a 3-2, but in order to learn the market, you really need to understand what's going on in your neighborhood. And $130 a square foot is what we need to understand. So this house is just a normal kind of lived-in house with a really, really yellow kitchen. Certainly that impacted the value. I've never seen that before. But it's a cute little house, right? It's updated, but it's not a flip or anything crazy like that. All right, so that one sold in 2 days for 130 a square foot. Let's take a look at this one. Almost $25, $23, $33 less a square foot. Let's see what this one has. Okay, first of all, it's brick. So brick to me means higher value. And this house, it appears to be in better shape than the other house was. Avocado countertops, got the washing machine in this weird spot. So it's not quite as attractive. Doesn't have furniture in it. Paneling. All right, so I see it. I see it now. And I think it's about the same size. So $97 a square foot. But now so there's only basically two bedrooms in that area. And now we know that, right? We've absorbed that information and we get that information. So let's do this. I'm going to take my criteria out. Now that I understand the 2 bedrooms, I'm going to go 3-bedroom to 3-bedroom. All right. All right, that takes out a couple more. And now I'm going to sort by the number of baths again. And I really want to understand now, how much difference does it make in price whether I have a 2-bathroom or not, right? That's important. So let's assume that our property there on Elaine Avenue is just a 3-1. Well, a 3-1, there aren't that many 3-1s, first of all. But a 3-1, it looks like a 3-1 sold very quickly for $150 a square foot. My guess is this house was renovated. Let's take a peek. Kind of a interesting. That's okay. Updated. It's not a investor flip or anything like that, but definitely an updated, super clean, very nice, well-furnished house. All right, so we get that one, right? Nice backyard, cute house, sold in 0 days, which means it got an offer immediately and sold for $10,000 over asking price at $150 a square foot. All right, that's pretty high. I don't understand why that one was $150 a square foot, considering we have some down here that are a little bit lower per square foot. But there's the 3-1. Now, we said that our property on Elaine is a 3-2. So let's look at the rest of the 3-2s. So now I'm going to go back in here just to sort things out and make sure that I like to keep my properties organized. Now I have a 3-2. Okay. And what I want to do now is I want to go back to my map search, and I want to see, here's our property. You see the little flag? That's our property. And I want to see what that property would be worth if it was all fixed up. Okay, so now we have this 160 over here. We're going to need to take a look at that. We have a 200 over here, and you see how the pictures are populating, right? And you can see this one's obviously looks a little bit nicer than this one, even though it's brick. The other one is brick. Here's one for 273. We're going to want to understand why that's 273. We're going to want to understand why that's 235. You can kind of see it visually, right? 235 and another 270. So I feel good about my comps right in here. Now, if I wanted to, I could go in and I could redo my search criteria. I could go down here and look at this. I could redo my search criteria and try to stay in this area. Now, the one thing I want you to notice, and this is what's great when you look at a map view, is do you see how the lots are a little bit tighter over here? Right, indicates the lots are a little bit thinner. Some of them are a little thinner, some of them a little thicker. Sometimes that can indicate a value or a change in neighborhood. So let's assume that you don't really know what you're looking at here. What I can tell is that these lots are smaller than most of it. Wait for this to refresh. Most of these lots over here. So is it possible that this neighborhood is nicer? Well, certainly is possible. You can take your little Google Street View man, right? And you can go down here and just walk the neighborhood and see what you think about the neighborhood. And you can get a visual on it. Basically, is it nicer? Is it not nicer? And just take a little stroll. Okay, then we're going to go back to the map. And let's go up and find our flag. There it is, Elaine Avenue. And let's take our little man up here and let's drive down this street. Is it better? Is it worse? It looks like there are a few less updated homes on this street, certainly. I would say, I'm not going to say slightly worse. I'm going to say this street is inferior to the street down below. Like those were all larger brick ranches. These seem to be some brick, some siding. So you see where we're going there? So that's where you have to really be careful, because a lot of times you'll see an investor send out something that's, you know, ARVs or values are in the 270 range, but they're actually not in this area. So now I really just want to focus, I think, in this particular case, I'm going to focus on the value being somewhere in that, you know, 160 to 225 range. So I basically narrowed it down in my mind that this street is a little bit inferior to the street down below that has bigger lots and that houses are selling in that 250, 275 range. And you can see it too, right? Like look over here where my mouse is. See these streets? Now follow my mouse down and look at these streets. These lots are clearly bigger. Houses are probably bigger. Now you could take your polygon again, right? If I wanted to do that, I could take my polygon and I say, I'm only going to focus on everything up here. So let me just do that just for the sake of being simple and consistent. I'm going to take Elizabeth Drive and I'm going to use Elizabeth Drive as my stopping point. Now, some of those lots on Elizabeth look bigger too, but let me go back over here. I'm going to get this polygon wrapped up really fast. As I'm doing this, what questions do you have? I'd love to see you post anything that I might have missed in this video that you're curious about. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my criteria and I'm going to get rid of this first polygon and go back to my map search. And now here we are. This is the sweet spot. So in about how long have we been going here? 5-10 minutes. And now I have the sweet spot. What can I do with this now? Now I feel really good about that. These are the values of the property. Well, first of all, I'm going to look at these properties now. 6 of them. I'm going to thumb through them and I'm going to look at the sales price per square foot. So we're anywhere between, looks like over here, 118 a square foot. I'm sorry, sold price a square foot, 118 up to like 153. Oh, but this house for 153 sat on the market almost 5 months. And this one at 142 sat on the market for almost 4 months. Okay. There's reasons for that. And we could talk about those too. Now, you also want to figure out your square foot. What is our square footage on Elaine Avenue? Well, Elaine Avenue, let's say Elaine Avenue is 1,300 square feet, plus or minus, right? So can we use a comp that's 1,800 to 1,900 square feet? I wouldn't. I certainly would not. We said that some of these lots on Elizabeth are bigger than our lots up here off of Elaine Avenue, right? And so have to kind of factor that in. So as I'm looking at my results, the ones on Elizabeth, one's is between 1,600 and 1,800 square feet. This one's between 12 and 14, and this one's between 18 and 19. And we said our property was around $1,300 or 1,300 square feet. So let's only look at the houses that are approximately 1,300 square feet, plus or minus 100. That's how I like to do it. So you got your 1,300 and then plus or minus 100, 150, whatever you like. Okay. And so now I'm going to look at this one on Pinehurst. And it looks like this house on Pinehurst is probably some sort of investor flip. We could pull up the tax records and determine that. They were smart. They had this really cool paneling, and this is really thick paneling, and they just painted over it. It's super smart. Adds a lot of character to the room. So they didn't put a new kitchen in. They just painted it. All right, great. Looks great. Granite countertops, new appliances, double vanity, able to get that in there. It's a big selling feature. So this is clearly an investor property. And that investor property sold for $142 a square foot, but it took 4 months to sell. When all of these others look like they're selling in that, 120, 125 range. Now here's this one on Elizabeth. It's 1,200 square feet, but to 1,400 square feet. So it fits our criteria. Let's just look at it though to make sure. Okay, it has a garage, which this neighborhood, it's hit or miss on the garages, lots of carports. When you look at this, it looks like our other house was clearly superior to this one. Old brown carpet, kind of nasty tile from the late 90s. Definitely, this has rental property all over it. This is the type of carpet landlords like to use. Not as updated. So why? So again, you need to ask yourself the question: why did that house on Elizabeth Drive wait, which one was it? This one down here on Elizabeth Drive sell for $148 a square foot in 3 days versus this one back here that we look at, this investor property, sell in 4 months. That's just really unusual. That normally wouldn't happen. So I'm going to do a couple more little things here before I end this video, just to show you, because again, you always want to ask why. Our property on Elaine is brick. And so we would like to compare apples to apples. So this house on Pinehurst was brick that we looked at. Super clean kind of retail house. Okay. That sold for 120. This investor flip sold for 142. And now let's take a peek at, we looked at this one. Remember? It's one with the garage that we can't understand why. So now I'm just going to make sure the schools line up, because schools can be a big deal. So this one is Lake Forest Elementary, League Middle School, and Wade Hampton High School. Okay, fine. Now I want to go back to my search and I want to look at this one that sold for 143 a square foot. And what is that? Lake Forest League in Wade Hampton, same. Okay, now it's really important as you run your comps, even if they're in the same neighborhood, that does not mean they're always in the same school. So you might have a school, elementary school, that is completely different and higher ranked and this huge fluctuation in price. So, and that's a different video, but this is how we kind of get started and narrow things down. So I would say our 3-2 house on Elaine that we're looking to buy is worth somewhere between 160 and I'm going to call it 200 based on these comps. And I'm looking at this comp right here, this 109 Elizabeth Drive, even though the lot might be a little bit bigger, this Pinehurst Street and this Hale Drive. So you want to take the low, middle, and the high. You certainly could average those three together to get a value, or you could just simply go with the low value and just say, I'm only going to value this property and be a conservative investor at $118.26 a square foot. And that's the most I'm willing to value this property. And that's certainly a very, very good technique as you're looking for a property. And depending on whether you are a buy and hold investor, whether you are a flipper, whether you are someone who's going to maybe do a lease purchase or lease option or whatever it is that you want to do, or create an Airbnb, this is really important for you to understand exactly how you're valuing the property. Because if you're doing an Airbnb, you might be able to pay more if your numbers work for an Airbnb. If you're going to buy it as a buy and hold rental property, well, what returns are you looking for in your rental? That determines the value. If you're a house flipper, you know, what kind of money do you want to make on this property? Okay. So all of those things, I know it's a loaded question, but at least I showed you a little bit about how we go about running our comps and doing the fundamentals of our data analysis. I hope this has been helpful. Sorry, the video quality and the mic quality is not as good as normal, but I'm Terry, the real estate guy. Thanks for tuning in. If you found value in this, please subscribe to my channel and look forward to seeing you next time.